Have you ever faced an unexpected guest from your past? What would you do if a secret threatened to unravel your present? The warm Tuscan sun poured golden honey across the rolling vineyard, vines stretching out in neat rows beneath a wide, effortlessly blue sky. The soft murmur of festivities carried on the gentle breeze, clinking glasses, laughter rising in the shade of ancient olive trees, delicate music weaving through the air like a secret melody. Yet beneath the festive veil, Sophia's chest felt hollow, a quiet ache deepening with each moment. She stood near the altar, the floral arrangements vibrant around her as the newlywed couple exchanged their promises, their smiles bright against the rustic landscape. Her auburn hair caught the sunlight, cascading softly over her flowing boho chic dress, its fabric whispering against the earth. But as the bride and groom turned joyous and radiant to descend the stone steps into the waiting celebration, Sophia's gaze drifted to the empty space beside her, the seat once promised Dan taken. A slow tightening gripped her heart. Memories flickered his voice, a cold absence, the bitterness lacing the words she'd swallowed to keep silence. The ghost of a wedding ring she'd once worn glinted faintly from the corner of the tablia symbol, now cracked, its promises shattered like fragile glass. She brushed a stray curl behind her ear, shoulders stiffening as a subtle tremor rippled through her resolve. A distant sound, soft steps over gravel, pulled her attention. For a fleeting moment, the sea of smiling guests blurred, and time slowed with a painful wait. There, at the edge of the celebration, stood a figure, a shadow she hadn't dared confront since her departure, embodying every fragment of fear and regret she'd tried to bury. Her ex-boyfriend. The enigmatic bearer of all the wounds concealed beneath the curated calm of this day. He held something, a stray dog, its eyes reflective pools of loyalty and unspoken secrets, its fur tousled like the tangled threads of a forgotten story. The dog's presence felt like a silent proclamation, a living testament to ties that neither time nor distance had fully severed. Sophia's breath caught sharp, uneven. The warmth of the sun now felt intrusive, spotlighting her uncertainty like an unforgiving gaze. Guests' laughter drifted eerily distant as her world narrowed, the weight of past failures pressing down like the heavy earth beneath the vineyard. Quick snapshots of doubt flickered behind her eyes. The whispered critiques she'd heard when plans faltered, the gnawing insecurity of inadequacy, the fear of being unmasked as the fraud she felt inside. Her hands clenched briefly at her sides, nails biting into the delicate fabric of her dress as a quiet battle raged within. A soft voice called her name, a gentle tether to the present. She turned, forced a smile that didn't quite reach her eyes, and moved forward. The stray dog padded alongside her opponent, the physical incarnation of the unresolved, a bridge and barrier all at once. She swallowed hard, heart pounding, a staccato rhythm in her chest, every step a fragile act of defiance and longing. The vineyard's sunlit beauty clashed violently with the shadow unfolding just beyond the light. As guests lifted their glasses in joyous toasts, Sophia's gaze met the dog's steady, unwavering eyes, a silent challenge and comfort entwined. The moment hung suspended, poised on the knife edge between past and present, shame and courage, rejection and redemption. The golden light bathed the scene, rich earth tones blending with the subtle shadows that stretched across her face, tracing a path not of defeat but of fierce, raw potential. And for a heartbeat, as the soft murmur of conversation swelled around her, Sophia stood, a figure caught between sorrow and strength, the weight of history pressing closely, yet the spark of something unyielding flickering beneath the surface. The warm glow of the Tuscan sun softens as the late afternoon stretches languidly across the vineyard, turning the rows of gnarled vines into living shadows slanting across the earth. Sophia stands alone at the edge of the wedding reception, the buzz of celebration swirling around her like a distant current she can neither reach nor escape. Her auburn hair cascades in loose waves, catching flecks of golden light, but her usual confidence feels threadbare, slipping away with the laughter and clinking glasses that fill the air. She drifts among the clusters of guests, her flowing dress brushing softly against the cobblestone floor, blending into the backdrop of joy and light-hearted chatter. Conversations float past her cheerful toasts, whispered compliments, the rustle of silk and lace, yet each sound weaves a tightening cocoon of solitude. She moves like a ghost, seen but unseen, present yet disconnected. Her gaze flickers involuntarily over familiar faces, none of whom hold refuge for her today. A couple dances in the distance, their eyes alight with dreams Sophia once dared to share. A child races past, arms outstretched, laughter spilling like a sparkling stream, reminding her of moments lost beneath the weight of silent regrets. These scenes, snapshots of happiness, sharpen the ache nestled deep within her. Her fingers unconsciously curl around the delicate band of a wedding ring resting on the table beside Hera, symbol of promises made and broken, radiating warmth and betrayal in equal measure. The subtle shine reflects off the earth-toned ceramic, a muted reminder of love's dual edge. Sophia's breath catches as her thoughts spiral inward, the cacophony of celebration fading into muted whispers that reverberate with self-doubt. The weight of past failures settles like dusk upon her shoulders, memories of broken dreams, doubts whispered in dark rooms, fears of exposure peeling back the facade she painstakingly crafted. She pauses beneath a linden tree, its branches heavy with fragrant blossoms that drift quietly downward like slow-falling tears. The scent is bittersweet, stirring shadows of longing and loss. She closes her eyes briefly, swallowing the sudden sting of tears, determined yet fragile. A soft breeze carries murmurs across the courtyard, and with it, the faintest swish of paws approaching. Her eyes open slowly, drawn toward the source, a stray dog, moving with tentative grace, its coat dusted with the earth's hues. The animal's sapphire eyes meet hers, holding an unspoken loyalty that transcends words and wounds. Sophia's breath shifts, the harsh edge of rejection momentarily softened by the unassuming presence at her feet. As the dog nestles close, seeking warmth and trust, a surge of unexpected tenderness flickers within her, an ember amid smoldering ashes. But before she can embrace the quiet comfort, a distant voice cuts through, sharp and familiar, awakening the flicker of unease shadowing her every thought. The arrival of the ex-boyfriend looms at the fringe of her vision, an opaque presence holding the weight of unresolved pain and unanswered questions. Her heart tightens, the once hopeful light of the reception dimming against the twilight of past mistakes. The dog, a living emblem of the secrets and loyalties buried between them, shifts beside her, its collar catching the dying light, a hint of stories yet untold. Guests raise their glasses in celebration, but Sophia's world narrows, the vibrant tapestry of the evening dissolving into a blur of earth tones and shadowed fears. She inhales deeply, bracing against the tide of memories and mounting uncertainty. The vineyard breathes softly around her, rustle of leaves, the distant laughter, the subtle scent of crushed grapes. And in the fading gold of day, Sophia stands poised between the fragile remnants of past promises and the stirring pulse of a new, uncertain beginning. The scene closes on her silhouette framed against the vineyard's glowing horizon, the weight of history balanced delicately with a spark of something wild and unbroken beneath the surface. The late afternoon sun cast a warm, golden haze over the vineyard's rolling hills, the light filtering through gnarled vines heavy with clusters of ripening grapes. Sophia's gaze was fixed on the distant path where the newlywed couple had disappeared, their laughter mingling with the soft rustling of leaves and the distant hum of cicadas. The raw hollow she felt tugged beneath her ribs, a familiar ache she tried to smother beneath a veneer of calm. She stood slightly apart, her flowing dress billowing gently in the Tuscan breeze, auburn hair catching the sunlight, hinting at softness even as her eyes betrayed the storm inside. The air smelled faintly of earth and wine, a bittersweet fragrance that entwined with the memories heavy upon her chest. A ripple of movement at the edge of the reception drew her attention, shadows stretching long as the sun dipped lower in the sky. From between the olive trees emerged a figure she recognized all too well, the ghost of her past come unwelcome and unannounced. Behind him padded a stray dog, its wiry frame dusted with flecks of dirt, eyes glistening with something unspoken, steeped in loyalty and secrets. The ex-boyfriend's presence shattered the warm tapestry around her, pulling the light into darker corners of her heart. His gaze locked briefly with hers, not with warmth, but a mingling of regret and challenge. The dog's unyielding eyes met Sophia's, an unspoken bridge spanning years she'd tried to forget but that clung stubbornly to her skin like ivy. A subtle tension wove itself between them, a silent conversation seeded with years of unspoken words, broken promises, and lingering ghosts. Sophia's breath hitched, fighting to steady the tremble rippling through her fingers. In that charged stillness, she felt the wedding ring resting forgotten on a nearby table, once a cherished symbol, now a heavy anchor threatening to drown her in memories of what could have been. Her eyes flicked to the delicate band, sunlight catching its fractured surface, reflecting fractured dreams. Guests continued their celebrations, unaware of the maelstrom beneath the sunlight's golden glow. Sophia's lips pressed into a thin line as she clenched her palms, briefly soft fabric folding beneath her fingertips, anchoring her trembling hands. The dog stepped closer, its presence a quiet balm as well as a reminder. Time seemed suspended, the vineyard's hum dipping into a muted cadence as the past collided with the present. Sophia exhaled slowly, a breath heavy with pain and the tentative stirrings of resolve. The breeze shifted, carrying with it the faint scent of wild thyme and lavender, the earth's whispered promise that even wounds, old as stone, might one day bloom anew. Her eyes lifted toward the horizon, where the sky melted into shades of dusk, warmth and shadow entwining. The auburn curls around her face caught the final sunbeams, framing a silhouette at once fragile and unyielding. In the distance, the dog's low, steady bark echoed softly, a sentinel's vow-binding secrets waiting to unfurl, debts left unpaid, and the fragile beginnings of redemption. Sophia's heart steadied, the hollow ache morphing into a spark, the first flicker of courage. Her fingers brushed the delicate letter she carried, worn and folded, a fragment of truth that held the key to everything hidden beneath the surface. The camera holds on her profile, sunlight and shadow tracing every line, every unspoken word as the vineyard breathes around her, poised between the closing of old chapters and the dawn of a story yet to be told. The Tuscan afternoon bends with the golden warmth typical of late summer, the sunlight spilling over the vineyards in rich, honeyed waves that dance on the rough stone walls of the estate. Sophia moves through the vineyard grounds with a tentative grace, her boots stirring dust along the rustic path where dried olives crumble underfoot. Her auburn hair is loosely braided, sunlight illuminating strands that flicker like embers, a gentle contrast to the shadows cast by the twisted, knotted vines. Every sound is crisp and alive, the distant chirp of cicadas, the faint rustling of leaves in the gentle breeze, the soft murmur of laughter and clinking glasses drifting from the ongoing wedding reception beyond wooden trellises wrapped in wisteria. Despite the vibrancy around her, a quiet tension laces the air where Sophia treads, a simmering undercurrent of unease and determination pushed silent beneath her composed exterior. At her feet, the stray dog pads softly, paws stirring the gravel and dry leaves. The dog moves with cautious trust, its eyes a telling mirror of unspoken loyalty. It nudges against Sophia's calf, seeking reassurance. She reaches down, fingers hesitating before brushing the coarse fur with tentative affection. "Who do you belong to, I wonder?" she whispers to the dog, her voice a fragile mix of curiosity and uncertainty. The slip of an old collar, half buried under the dog's fur, catches the sunlight and glints like a secret waiting to be uncovered. Sophia's mind whirls as she balances the twin demands of orchestrating the ebb and flow of the celebration while probing the enigma the dog embodies. A menu flutters to the ground, and she stoops quickly, the brief act grounding her as if pulling her back from the edge. The faint scent of crushed grass and earth rises around her, scent of life persisting in the vineyard's sun-baked soil, a reminder of resilience. Her phone vibrates sharply in her pocket, a message from a hesitant friend offering both sympathy and caution. She reads the words twice before typing out a response, fingers steady despite the fluttering nerves beneath. "I'll figure this out. I have to." The dog's presence becomes a quiet beacon amid her swirling chaos, a tether to the past and a hint of the untamed future unfurling before her. Yet every interaction with the animal stirs the heavy cloak of memories, the failed promises, the whispered regrets, the nameless fears. The weight sits heavily on her role as wedding planner, anchoring her to responsibility, yet the dog's watchful eyes drawing her into a deeper, unresolved narrative. Guests laugh nearby, their voices a vibrant counterpoint to the shadows beneath Sophia's thoughts. A child chases a butterfly through the sunlit patches of grass, spontaneous and free, the innocence sharply contrasting with the tangled past Sophia carries silently. Her breath catches as she notices the worn wedding ring caught on the dog's collar, small, delicate, yet charged with the heaviness of broken vows and fractured love. The symbol curls shadows onto the pale fur, a reminder of promises made and broken. Sophia's gaze locks onto the dog's sincere eyes. She feels the stirring of courage, not the kind that shakes the ground but one that kindles softly from within, a fragile flare against the dusk of past failures. She straightens, determination knitting her brow, and voices a quiet vow under breath, fragile yet firm: "I'll uncover your story." The sun begins its slow descent, casting long shadows that stretch between the vines, mingling light and darkness into a tapestry of possibility. A sudden bark from the dog breaks the hush, a harbinger of secrets and revelations yet to come. The camera lingers on Sophia's face as the glow fades into twilight, her eyes reflecting a spark of awakening, poised at the threshold between fear and hope, a moment suspended before the next unfolding truth. The vineyard had slipped into an easy twilight, the sky a deepening amber that bled into violet. Sophia moved through the wedding reception with a practiced grace, the laughter and music swirling around her like the delicate fragrance of crushed lavender. Yet beneath the golden light, shadows clung stubbornly, unseen by guests caught in celebration but heavy upon her heart. The dog trailed at her heels, a quiet companion amid the swirl of festivities. Its presence brought a tender warmth, softening edges frayed by fragile pride and past heartaches. As she slipped an extra slice of chicken from a tray onto a plate, she found herself whispering to the creature, "We're in this together now, aren't we?" The dog's eyes met hers with a quiet loyalty, as if answering her unspoken fears. But beneath that small comfort, a turmoil twisted deep within. Rumors floated through the crowd like fragile petals, subtle glances and whispered doubts, rumors of her ex's silent return, shadowing her steps, trailing her every move. A sudden voice pierced the haze, bright, incisive, cutting through the warm air. Sophia turned sharply, locking eyes with one of the bride's family members, a figure she'd seen eyed her with thinly veiled skepticism since the day's first embrace. "Isn't that your ex leading that stray dog around?" the woman asked pointedly, lips curling in a restrained smirk. Sophia's heart tightened. The ache was raw, a bruising force that threatened to spill. She forced a steady smile, voice calm but edged with steel. "The dog's a guest here, like everyone else." But the seed was planted, whispers bloomed swiftly like wildflowers, echoing doubts that gnawed at her confidence. Questions hovered. Why was he here? What did the dog signify? Had old wounds come to settle? Later, in the soft solitude of a shadowed corner, Sophia sank onto a bench, the crunch of gravel beneath her boots the only sound. The dog's soft whine was a quiet balm. She pulled a scrap of crumpled paper from her pocket, the dog's collar tag, engraved with a name she hadn't expected. Memories surged unbidden. Promises broken, silent partings, the wedding ring hidden away like a relic best forgotten. The dog was a living echo of a chapter she fought to close. The music swelled overhead into a crescendo of celebration as Sophia's thoughts darkened the truth she'd buried, clawing for breath. A fleeting glance caught the ex-boyfriend's figure in the distance, watching. His eyes met hers, a fraught silence stretching between them. Her breath caught, chest tightening like a fragile cord stretched taut. The dog shifted beside her, collar glinting faintly in fading light, as if guarding a secret too tender to speak aloud. In that suspended moment, beneath the wash of warm hues and the soft murmur of laughter, Sophia felt the first tremor of defiance, a fragile spark in the evening glow. She whispered, "I won't let the past chain me. This story isn't finished." But as the soft bark echoed, punctuating the night, a sudden commotion caught her ear, toast raised by the groom interrupted by the dog slipping away, scattering a cluster of sealed letters across the marble floor. Gasps echoed through the crowd, eyes wide with curiosity and confusion. Sophia's heart raced as she hurried toward the scattered papers, their seals marked with faded writing letters folded tight with the weight of untold histories. The scene froze in a blend of sunlight and shadow, poised in the fragile balance between past revelations and uncertain futures, the scattered letters a silent herald of the storms to come. The late afternoon sun dipped lower behind the Tuscan hills, casting long shadows across the vineyard where the wedding continued in distant echoes. Sophia stood beside the rustic stone wall, the golden light catching stray curls of her auburn hair, now pulled loosely from its morning confinement. Her hand hovered over the dog's collar, feeling the weight of the small metal tag glinting faintly in the shifting light. The sound of murmured voices drifted faintly from the reception, the laughter and clinking glasses now a blurred backdrop to the storm gathering within her. She opened the small leather pouch tied to the dog's worn collar, fingers trembling slightly. Inside was a folded letter, its edges softened by time, sealed in a way that suggested hidden messages meant for no one but those who dared to read between the lines. Her breath caught as she tugged it gently free, unfolding the fragile parchment beneath her gaze. As words rose to life from the ancient ink, Sophia was pulled into a world both intoxicating and devastating, a story of love suspended between hope and constraint, secrets kept in the spaces between whispered promises. Her eyes widened with growing disbelief as the letter revealed not only shared dreams but also the fractures tethering her past to the present, a tangled web of unfinished conversations, unspoken regrets, and veiled truths. The weight of betrayal pressed hard against her chest, the knowledge that the dog, this silent guardian of loyalty, was more than an animal. It was a living vessel of a story incomplete and aching for resolution. Her heart raced as footsteps approached, footsteps too familiar, filling the space with the presence of the ex, a shade clawing at the edges of her carefully curated world. His eyes met hers, the unspoken history sparkling with tension, regret, and a claim over a shared past neither fully understood. "You never told me why you left," he said softly, voice thick with the gravity of years lost. Sophia swallowed the swell of emotion, the fight to reclaim her own story coiling within her. "Some stories aren't ready for telling," she murmured, fingers tightening around the letter. He nodded slowly, stepping back, the dog settling in faithfully at her side as if promising protection and loyalty beyond words. The sun set behind them, painting the vineyard in dusky oranges and purples, shadows lengthening as light waned. In that moment, the fragile peace shattered. A sudden clamor rose from the reception hall where the dog bolted unexpectedly into the crowd, scattering a collection of old, carefully tied letters. Guests gasped and turned, startled by the disruption. Sophia's gaze fixed on the fluttering papers, her heart pounding as one slipped free, revealing the faded handwriting of a former lover's confession, a secret now dangerously exposed. The crowd's voices rose in a mix of curiosity and speculation, and Sophia stood frozen, the once hidden past now unraveling in the sunlit air. The dog, once silent and distant, now at her side like a sentinel, seemed to carry the unspoken promise of truth, loyalty, and the courage to face what had long been buried. The camera lingered on Sophia's face, resolute and pained, as twilight deepened around her, the veil of secrecy lifting but leaving the loom of consequence thick and heavy in the air. Above, the first stars blinked awake, silent witnesses to the unfolding story, fragile and raw, carved against the Tuscan night. The scene closed on a breath held tight between heartbeats, a shimmering pause before the inevitable reckoning. The vineyard, once vibrant with the laughter and light of celebration, now lay under a steel-gray sky heavy with impending rain. The afternoon sun was smothered by thick clouds, and a brittle wind swept through the twisted rows of vines, hurrying dry leaves into restless spirals across the cracked earth. Sophia stood alone near an ancient olive tree, its gnarled branches bare and reaching like arthritic fingers into the dull sky. She stared down at the cracked and weathered wedding ring that lay half-buried in the dust at her feet, its shimmer dulled by time and neglect. Her breath came uneven in the cool air, the weight of everything pressing on her like the gathering storm. Around her, the echoes of earlier joy felt like a distant memory, swallowed by the gray gloom and the gnawing void inside. The dog, once a beacon of silent loyalty, now sat at a distance, wary eyes fixed on her as if sensing the collapse unfolding within. The ground beneath her felt unsteady, as if the earth itself mirrored the tremors shattering her resolve. Her fingers brushed the earth where the ring had rested, tracing its outline absently, the fragment of a promise that had long turned to ash. Her gaze lifted, searching the horizon where the vineyard met a sliver of rain-darkened sky, searching for answers that dissolved into the heavy air. Her thoughts spiraled through the labyrinth of past failures and betrayals, the bitter sting of the ex-boyfriend's sudden arrival, the whispered rumors twisting through the reception like poisonous vines, the cruel fragments of hope and doubt tangled inseparably. The dog's collar glinted faintly in the dying light, a symbol of shared secrets and unfinished stories that clawed at her sanity. She took a step forward, then hesitated, the world narrowing to a suffocating focus on the cold stone beneath her feet and the ghostly outline of the wedding altar now deserted and forlorn. The guests' laughter had faded, replaced by a deafening silence that filled the spaces between her thoughts, echoing with the hollow clink of invisible chains. A soft whisper broke the stillness, a name, a plea, a fragment of a promise lost somewhere between grief and denial. Sophia's lips parted, but no sound came, only the quiet shatter of self beneath the weight of unspoken truths and unrealized dreams. Her eyes closed briefly against the sting of tears unfallen, breaths shallow, as if the air itself had thickened, constricting and cruel. Time slowed, each second dragging endlessly as storm clouds gathered overhead, blotting out the last vestiges of soft gold. The horizon blurred, the vineyards rose folding into shadow, and Sophia's world contracted to the hollow ache inside her chest. Her hands clasped tightly together, nails digging into skin as if seeking to anchor a soul unraveling. The dog approached cautiously, nosing at her side, a fragile tether to the fragile remnants of trust and hope. But even this small connection trembled under the pressure of despair. Sophia sagged against the rough bark of the olive tree, her breath a fragile rhythm in the heavy air. Her gaze fell to the wedding ring, once Morea fractured emblem, now marking the ruin of promises and the fracture of identity. The wind's icy fingers teased loose strands of hair across her face, a bitter caress from a present she could no longer bear. The camera drew in close, capturing the fine lines of her expression, the spread of shadow across pale skin, the faraway flicker of dreams dissolving. Silence and storm coiled like a serpent ready to strike, the world holding its breath as Sophia teetered on the edge of a plunge into the unknown. And in that suspended moment, the vineyard itself seemed to mourn with her lost love, the broken promises, the fragile soul unraveling beneath the darkened Tuscan sky. The twilight of the Tuscan vineyard had deepened into a cold, unforgiving dusk. Sophia sat on the worn stone steps at the edge of the estate, wrapped in a shawl that did little to shield her from the creeping chill. Her auburn hair, usually a vibrant flame beneath the sun, now lay limp and shadowed by the dusk, each strand a silent witness to the unraveling within. Around her, the colossal vines towered like ancient sentinels, their dark leaves whispering in the chill wind that carried the scent of crushed grapes and forgotten dreams. The air held a biting edge, matching the cold that had seeped into Sophia's bones, not merely from the temperature, but from the heavy solitude crushing her spirit. Her breath billowed in soft clouds, the rhythm uneven, mirroring the erratic pulse of memories she no longer wished to confront. The weight of lies, secrets, and unfulfilled promises pressed down with relentless force, and she felt herself fracturing beneath the surface. The dog, once a symbol of gentle loyalty, lay curled several feet away, its steady rhythmic breathing a faint heartbeat tethered to her fading resolve. Its collar caught the scant light. The emblem-etched Theria-worn token of a shared past now seemed to mock rather than comfort. Sophia's fingers trembled as she held the faded wedding ring, its cold metal biting against her skin. A lost tether to love once held, promises broken and scattered like autumn leaves in the endless breeze. The landscape stretched vast and indifferent, the vineyard's orderly rows blurred into smudges of shadow and decay. The distant chirp of cicadas was swallowed by the hollowness in her chest, replaced by a penetrating silence that echoed in every hollow space. Her eyes traced the horizon where the graying clouds met darkened earth, shadows leaping like specters in the failing light. A gust of wind stirred, tugging at her dress and the loose strands around her face, carrying with it a faint scent of rain and something lost. Words came, a whisper without form. What am I without this? Without him? Without the story I hope to write? The emptiness swallowed the question, offering no solace. The icy ground beneath their feet, the stoic silhouettes of the grapevines, and the pale moon beginning its ascental conspired to carve a cathedral of solitude where Sophia knelt, cradling the ring like a prayer she was afraid to speak aloud. The dog rose silently, nosing gently against her trembling hand, a flicker of warmth amid the vast, cold night. Yet even this fragile connection felt ephemeral, a flickering candle at the edge of a dark abyss. For a moment, Sophia's gaze fixed on the horizon, a flicker of orange in the dark sky as a solitary star blinked into existence. It was so small, so distant, a faint pulse of light amid relentless shadow. She closed her eyes, letting the cold seep deeper, her breath falling away into a stillness as profound as the vineyard's fading day. The silence engulfed her completely, a vast emptiness stretching into forever. And there, on the cusp of surrender, surrounded by the vastness and the void, Sophia felt the fragile thread of hope waver but not yet break. The scene held in the heavy stillness, the air alive with the quiet agony of loss, poised on the edge of something profound and yet to come. The sun dipped low, casting long shadows over the vineyard, draping the landscape in a melancholy twilight. Sophia sat alone on the edge of the garden's dry stone wall, her slender frame hunched against the creeping chill that seeped deeper than the evening air. Around her, the vineyard was still rows of dormant vines, heavy with rustling leaves, whispered secrets only the wind could understand. Her hands lay open in her lap where the dog's worn collar rested, a tangible relic of a story unfinished. The rough leather was warm beneath her fingers, its weight more than just physical. It carried the ghosts of promises unkept, of paths abandoned mid-journey. Sophia's gaze lingered on the small note tucked within, the paper fragile, edges curled as if yearning to be read. A thin breeze stirred, lifting the letter gently, its whispered flutter echoing like a soft plea of voice from the past reaching for the present. Sophia's breath caught, heart trembling with the fragile pulse of something unnamed. The wedding ring sheer against cracked stone summoned memories once a symbol of bond, now a silent sentinel of broken trust. She closed her eyes, the world around her collapsing into a hazy blend of sunlit earth and shadowed sorrow. The dog, faithful as ever, settled beside her, a quiet guardian against the encroaching dark. Its eyes, deep and knowing, reflected the fading light and kindled a flicker of warmth in her hollow chest. In its steady presence, she found a whisper of steadfast loyalty, a rekindling of unspoken truth. Her voice broke the stillness, a fragile murmur, more to herself than the quiet night. What have I left undone? What truth still waits beneath the surface? The faint rustle of leaves stirred behind her, a memory caught between regret and hope. For a moment, the veil of loss lifted, and in that short breath, Sophia glimpsed the fragile thread awaiting to be grasped. As darkness folded the vineyard into its silent embrace, a sliver of light shimmered in her eyes, a fragile beacon amidst the shadows. A gentle stir in the dog's collar caught her attention and, with trembling hands, she withdrew a hidden note. The camera lingers on the delicate paper as Sophia's fingers part the creased fold, revealing a faded vow, a promise once whispered, left unanswered, now holding the key to both redemption and renewal. The wind sighed softly, carrying away the last of the day's warmth, as Sophia rose with the weight of history upon her but the spark of courage igniting within. She stepped forward into the night, the dog padding by her side, a silent companion bearing witness to the fragile dawn of a new beginning. The golden hour casts a soft, forgiving hue over the vineyard where Sophia stands at the edge of the celebration, the vibrant crowd a stark contrast to her quiet storm of thoughts. Her boho chic dress flows gently in the breeze, the fabric catching the warm sunlight, yet her face is shadowed, her gaze distant. Her eyes reflect a tumult of regret, hope, and the faintest spark of determination kindling beneath the surface. Around her, laughter bubbles and glasses clink, but she feels unmoored, her inner world a turbulent sea of memories and unspoken fears. The stray dog, now a calm presence, sits patiently by her side, the collar shimmering faintly in the shifting light. Its eyes hold unspoken wisdom, a mirror of unacknowledged truths and silent loyalty. Sophia's hand reaches out, tentative yet purposeful, to lightly brush the dog's fur, a gesture both of comfort and a silent vow to herself. She will confront what has haunted her. She inhales deeply, filling her lungs with the scent of blooming roses and ripe grapes, every sense heightened by her tumult. The crowd's joyous chatter becomes a distant hum, background noise to her inner awakening. Her mind drifts to the past, the broken promises, the fleeting moments of love that slip through her fingers like grains of sand. A faint, almost imperceptible smile tugs at her lips as she gazes at the garden's labyrinth of vines and flowers, slowly recognizing the seeds of her strength, buried beneath layers of doubt. Today was not final. She realizes this is only the canopy, the first breath of a brighter chapter, fragile but real. Her fingers tighten slightly around the dog's collar, a subtle reminder that loyalty exists not only in others but within herself, waiting to be reclaimed. She turns her face toward the warm glow of the setting sun, the glow illuminating her features with a new tenderness, hinting at the awakening of hope. Silence settles as she takes a hesitant step forward, the world pressing in with an embrace both comforting and challenging. In that quiet, she begins to feel the faint stirrings of a voice, a whisper that echoes softly in her mind. This is the start. Not the end. Just the beginning. The camera pulls back slowly, capturing her silhouette against the glowing horizon, a figure poised between shadows and light, embodying the first fragile steps toward redemption, a silent testament to resilience and the possibility of renewal. The golden hues of sunset seep through the open courtyard, casting a warm yet ambivalent glow over the assembled guests. Sophia stood quietly at the veranda, the late light catching the gentle curves of her boho chic gown, her face a study in resolve and vulnerability intertwined. Her gaze traced the faint silhouette of her ex, who lingered at the edge of the gathering, his eyes flickering with unspoken questions and a guarded hope. Beside her, the stray dog, now resting at her feet, emitted a soft, steady-breathing silent testament to a loyalty unbroken by years of silence and pain. Its collar, worn but resilient, reflected the amber light, a symbol of unspoken truth and enduring bonds. Sophia's fingers brushed against the dog's collar, feeling the faint indentations where promises once lingered. Her heart pounded, an echo of the fear that had haunted her, yet also the quiet sigh of acceptance she had begun to summon. She took a breath, steadying her trembling, and looked out at the gathering. The air was thick with anticipation and the scent of blooming jasmine, but her focus was inward. In her mind, the memories spun shadowed encounters, fleeting whispers of regret, the shadow of her ex's uninvited return. Every step toward confronting her past had cost her, each moment a delicate dance of hope and surrender. But now, standing beneath the expansive Tuscan sky, she felt the stirrings of a rebirth. The shadows of betrayal, inadequacy, and regret blurred in the light of newfound strength. Her lips curved into a tentative but true smile, It was soft, yet powerful, a testament to her transformation. She glanced at her ex, who finally moved closer, tension and longing flickering across his face. Her voice, when it came, was calm, clear, a gentle yet unwavering declaration. "We can't rewrite the past, but we can own it. I refuse to carry these secrets anymore." A silence settled, thick and profound, as the last rays of sun caressed her features and the crowd held its collective breath. The distant murmur of conversation seemed hushed by the weight of her words, the unspoken promise that she would no longer be shackled by fear and failure. The dog shifted and rose slowly, nudging her hand with quiet loyalty. In that moment, Sophia looked down, her fingers intertwining with the collar's worn leather, a silent affirmation of her courage and the unbreakable bonds she now embraced. As her gaze lifted once more, it was as if she were seeing the horizon, a neon expansive canvas of possibility bathed in warm light, inviting her to step forward into a future forged by honesty and love. The camera pulled back to frame her silhouette, radiant and resilient against the tapestry of Tuscan sunset, a quiet, powerful symbol of hope reborn. The setting sun cast a gilded glow across the courtyard, lighting the faces of the gathered guests with a warm, golden hue. Sophia stood at the center, her form illuminated by the last light of day. Her shoulders were squared, her expression no longer marred by doubt but radiant with quiet strength. Beside her, the dog rested quietly, its eyes calm but watchful, its loyalty reaffirmed in the glow of twilight. Sophia's gaze swept across the crowd, the friends and family who had once doubted her, now witnessing the transformation. Her voice, steady and clear, broke the hushed reverence. "Today, I reclaim my story. No more hiding, no more silence. Our past is ours, messy, broken, sometimes painfully tender, but it is also ours to accept and forgive." A gentle breeze stirred the air, fluttering the edges of her flowing dress, symbolizing the gentle but unstoppable movement of change. Every line on her face told a story of resilience, of falling and rising, of confronting fears and choosing to stand tall. The dog's collar was caught in the glow, shimmering softly, a symbol of loyalty and the unspoken truths that bind us all. Sophia reached out to gently stroke its fur, feeling the solidity of her newfound purpose. Her eyes met her ex's across the scene, a silent, unspoken acknowledgement of the past and a shared understanding that they were both moving forward. Her voice grew unwavering. "This dog has been with us through secrets kept and promises broken. Now, it guides us still, showing us that loyalty and love are unbreakable, even when buried beneath years of silence." The crowd, moved by her candor, erupted into applause. The sound was a wave of affirmation, a chorus indicating that her voice, once silenced by fear, now resonated deep within each heart. Sophia looked up, eyes shimmering with tears, but a fierce smile curling upon her lips. She felt the weight of her burdens lift, replaced by the clarity of proportion, understanding that her story was just beginning, written anew with courage and truth. As the last rays of sun dipped below the horizon, a profound calm settled over her. She lifted her gaze to the vast Tuscan sky, breathing in the promise of tomorrow. The scene softened into a tranquil tablecloth silhouette of Sophia, the loyal dog, and the assembled guests united in silent celebration of a journey completed and a new chapter poised to unfold. The soft glow of dawn spilled across the rolling Tuscan hills, illuminating the vineyard with a gentle, golden light. Sophia stood at the garden's edge, the crop of wildflowers and lush vines glowing in the early morning warmth. Her silhouette was tranquil, an image of quiet acceptance. Her deep auburn hair shimmered in the light, tousled from the night's dreams and the calm she now embraced. The turmoil that once raged within her had begun to settle, leaving behind a fragile peace. In her hands, she clutched a small, ancient photograph, two lovers caught in a silent embrace, their faces tender and unafraid of the passage of time. The image, now bathed in the new sunlight, was a symbol of the love she'd uncovered, buried beneath years of silence, waiting to be reborn. Her fingertips traced its edges, delicate yet resilient, a testament to the journey she'd traveled. The air carried the faint scent of blooming jasmine and ripened grapes, a sensory reminder that renewal was possible even in the aftermath of shadows. She exhaled slowly, the tension in her shoulders easing as she gazed across the endless vineyard, the horizon promising new beginnings. Her eyes, once clouded with doubt and fear, now shimmered with quiet hope, the recognition that love, in all its forms, was a force that could withstand even the darkest storms. Behind her, the gentle rustling of leaves and the distant hum of the waking world faded into a hushed symphony of peace. The broken promises, the fractured past, had found their place within her, not as burdens but as lessons stitching her heart with a newfound strength. Sophia slowly turned, her steps gentle on the soft soil, each footfall a deliberate act of self-forgiveness. She lowered herself onto a stone bench, her gaze drifting to the distant vineyard, where the first light kissed the horizon. Her face reflected a calm she had not known, a gentle understanding that her story was still unfolding, rewritten in the language of resilience and love. In that serene moment, the tableau of her life seemed to pause silent, sacred, an image of healing blooming amidst the Tuscan dawn. The camera pulls back slowly, capturing her silhouette as she gazes into the infinite horizon, a quiet witness to the tender rebirth awaiting her on the horizon. The sky above, painted in pastel hues, whispered promises of hope and the endless possibility of tomorrow. The twilight cascaded lazily across the horizon as Sophia stood at the edge of the vineyard, a gentle breeze caressing her face and tousling her auburn hair. Her eyes, now calm and luminous, reflected a peaceful resolve that had taken years to forge. In her hands, she held a delicate locket, a gift from her past, fragile but resilient, just like the love stories she'd begun to embrace. The dog, sitting silently by her side, lifted its head and looked toward her with steady, unspoken understanding. Its collar, once a symbol of secrets and unfinished business, now gleamed softly in the fading light, an emblem of loyalty and the quiet strength of redemption. Sophia slowly reached out, her fingertips brushing the edge of the locket, feeling the warmth of her own breath mingling with the cool twilight air. She closed her eyes for a moment, silently offering forgiveness herself, her past, and the shadows that once haunted her. A faint, contented sigh escaped her lips, carrying the weight of years and the promise of new beginnings. Slowly, she turned, her gaze wandering over the vast vineyard that stretched to the far-off hillside, each vine a testament to resilience, growth, and love reborn. In that serene moment, she felt the gentle pulse of the earth beneath her feet, steady, unyielding. The shadows receded, replaced by the warm glow of acceptance, and a deep understanding settled within her. The past was no longer a chain but a foundation. The camera panned outward, capturing her silhouette radiant under the soft glow of dusk, the silhouette of a woman who had faced her fears, forgiven her mistakes, and embraced her true self. The vineyard's silent witness bore witness to her transformation, a tranquil tableau of hope, peace, and the quiet strength of surrender. Abandoning her doubts, Sophia took a deep breath, felt the promise of tomorrow bloom in her chest, and with a gentle step forward, she walked into the embrace of the night, the dog in her heart finally aligned in harmonious unity, ready to face whatever life would bring with courage and grace. The soft glow of dawn seeped through the vineyard, casting a gentle light across the lush rolling hills surrounding the Tuscan estate. Sophia and her partner, hand in hand, walked slowly along a stone path, the early light illuminating their peaceful expressions. The dog trotted quietly at their side, its collar catching the sun's first rays, a quiet reminder of loyalty and renewal. Sophia's gaze lingered on the landscape, serene and forgiving. The fears, doubts, and shadows of her past had dissolved in the warmth of the moment, replaced by acceptance and the quiet certainty that she had reclaimed her story. The wedding ring, now a symbol of hope, glinted softly on her finger, catching the dawn's gentle light as if endorsing her new beginning. Her eyes settled on the open sky, a canvas painted in soft westpink, amber, and pale gold, reflecting her inner transformation. The turbulent echoes of betrayal and heartbreak had given way to a tranquil harmony, silent but profound. The camera pulled back gradually, capturing the figures of Sophia and her partner walking into the horizon, the dog gleefully trotting ahead, a symbol of loyalty, resilience, and peace. The vineyard stretched endlessly behind them, unblemished and thriving, a testament to the power of facing fears and embracing the unknown. In that moment, the scene faded to a cinematic tableau of stillness and hope, the peaceful unity of love and forgiveness, forever etched into the sprawling Tuscan landscape. The silence lingered, the only sound the soft rustle of leaves in the breeze, a gentle promise that this peace would endure beyond words, beyond time. Have you ever witnessed an unexpected twist like this? Share your experience below.